All right, guys, what's going on? Justin from 79 Productions, and today we are gonna get into part 2 of installing the Max Peden Rods Turbo Kit, and we're gonna go ahead and get to that. All right, guys, so we're gonna finish up installing everything on this wastegate, and we need to hook up this dump tube, and I'm just gonna put the gasket on it, and we're gonna go ahead and connect it down here. Alright guys, so we're done with this. Down here I got it all tightened up, and I'm going to go ahead and put the little fittings on the top, and we're good to go. Alright, so I'm going to put these fittings in for the vacuum lines, and we're going to put that washer in, put this washer, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put it on, and I'll tighten this down later when I'm ready to figure out which way I want the vacuum line to sit. So I might, depending on the hood, how low it is, I might have to maybe angle it down and run the wire under it, but we'll see. That's why I'm going to loosen it up, leave it loose for now. Alright guys, so I finished up on the wastegate, and right now we're going to do the intercooler piping. We're going to get on this, and there's a lot of different pipes, so different angles, so we need to figure out how we're going to do this. Alright guys, so we're going to start on the intercooler piping, and I kind of started to figure out which way I want it to go. I'm not really 100% sure if I'm going to keep it this way. Now the blowout valve's going to hook up to here, so I need to hook this up, and then we're gonna run this one down to the bottom. So with this one, it's got less of an angle, so we're just gonna go ahead and run this one down to the bottom, and we'll hook it up into here, and that way. Now I'm not gonna clamp any of this stuff down. I'm just keeping it in place to kind of see where I want the piping to go. Alright guys, so now that I got that piping set up and I got it angled down, I'm gonna go ahead and put the intercooler on. That way I could get the intercooler in place, and I know where I need to run the intercooler piping. So here's the intercooler, and the intercooler has these welded on where I can just kind of bolt that in. So what I did was I drilled a hole under the bumper support, and that's gonna allow me, with that hole being there, that's gonna allow me to bolt up the intercooler. Now I need to find it, and it's a little bit of a challenge kind of getting behind here, but that's okay. I already figured it out, and this side's in, and I'm gonna go ahead, try to get my hand out of there, but this side's in. I'm just gonna let it sit here, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the other side in now. Alright guys, so for me to get this side in, I kind of had to loosen up the radiator, and I gotta get behind it. And now I can go ahead and try to get that on. There we go. I got it. Alright guys, so I got the intercooler in place, and I'm getting ready to run the piping, and I seen that to get around to that, I'm gonna need one of these U-pipings, these U-bends. Now I didn't have that in the kit, but I had 2 of these laying around, so we're just gonna go ahead and use those, and it's gonna make it a lot easier. Now with the kit, I can I can cut these and flare it, but that's gonna leave more couplers that I have to use. It's gonna make me use more of the couplers. So I already have those. I already have these two pieces laying around, so I'm just gonna use these rather than, you know, try to cut the other ones and splice them and fit them together. So that way we can use less couplers. And we're just gonna go ahead and fit this on here. Well, probably have to come around. No, we're gonna use it this way. And let's push this down a little. Set that on there, and this is why we want the intercooler in place. Alright guys, so we got that U-pipe in, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna run elbow one of these couplers going up to connect this. And basically what I want to do is I want to trim this piping down right about there to where I can make that connection. So I need to cut this pipe and then flare the end of it, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Alright guys, so this is where we want to cut. And guys, I'm wearing glasses, earplugs, and a mask. Make sure you use your safety equipment when you're cutting this, but we're going to try to cut straight on this line. And doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to go ahead and cut that line now. We got this cut, and it's not perfect, but it's okay for what we need. And I'm just gonna go through and try to file off some of these sharp edges and take off this loose metal. That way we don't have nothing breaking off. You can already see it coming off, but this is pretty sharp, so we're gonna go ahead and file that down. Alright guys, so with this file I was able to take a lot of that sharp aluminum off. And what you want to do is kind of be careful, but you want to run your fingers around and make sure there's nothing sharp that's snagging on your fingers. I did the whole thing and it's pretty good. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and start flaring the end of this. Alright guys, so what we have here, we got a pair of these are like electrical pliers, like snips. And what I'm gonna do here, if you can see, that kind of has a groove that goes up into here, and I'm gonna squeeze down on the inside of the piping, and I'm gonna keep on rotating it. There we go. So what I'm gonna keep doing is I'm gonna keep rotating it and keep moving it around. Now some of you guys are gonna say, oh, that's not flaring, or you know, that's not how you flare a pipe. But here's the thing, guys, this has worked for me in the past, and there is nothing wrong with doing this. So if you can see how it's lifting it up. Now I just want to lift it up enough to where when that clamp is on the coupler, it doesn't pop off. So we're gonna just keep doing that and go all around, and I'll show you guys it when it's done. We just finished flaring it, and now this is not perfect, but it's raised up enough to where once I clamp that coupler on, it's gonna stay. It's now if you have a proper machine, it will look like this, but we're doing this in the driveway, and I did it the best way that I know how, and this has worked for me in the past to where it has not come off. So you know, I think we're in good shape now. Make sure, guys, make sure you take a rag, some soapy water, and clean out all of the shavings in these. You do not want any metal shavings after you cut this out, so clean it out. I'm gonna clean this off camera, and we're gonna go ahead and put it on the car. All right, guys, so we got these flared, and we're just gonna go ahead and put this elbow on, and then we're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So we got that on now, and I think we're in good shape. All right, guys, so this is how we ran it. We got that U-bend there coming into the coupler, the elbow that connects them. This is the pipe I flared. Now I know some of you guys, you're gonna say, oh, well, that's not the way you're supposed to flare a pipe, and you know, my uncles, that wouldn't stand up and hold up against to my uncle's 1500 horsepower Supra. Those things are gonna blow off. Guys, this is not that kind of car. This car is gonna have about 250 to 300 horsepower. So the way that I did it, it will work. I've used it, I've done that in the past, and it held up. So that's the way I'm doing it. I'm using what I have, so you know, this is the way I'm doing it. But now that we got that on, we're gonna go ahead and move to the other side. All right, guys, so we're getting ready to start on this side, and for this side I'm using another U-pipe, and it has an elbow that goes up into the turbo. Now this kit did not come with those U-pipes, and I'll put a link to one of their kits that have the U-pipes in it, or just a separate intercooler piping. But all of this stuff on Max Pete and Rod's website is pretty cheap, so you know, this whole setup, by the time I'm done, is gonna be probably from about $700 to $1,000. That's with everything. That's the turbo kit, the fuel pump, the injectors, everything. So this is a very budget setup, and Max Pete and Rods has most of the stuff that you will need to get this going. So let's go ahead and put this on now. So this side, we're just gonna go ahead and set it in there, and then we'll come under the car and hook the bottom piece into the turbo. And then just slide that up there, and that piece will sit in there. There we go. That piece will sit in there, and we just need to go ahead and put all the clamps on now. All right, guys, I'm super excited about this. We got all the piping routed to where it needs to go. We got that connected to the turbo, and all of this is set up. And I like the placement of the intercooler. I'm not 100% sure if the bumper will cover it, but you know, that's as close as I can get it to the bumper support. So we might have to bring it up a little and maybe trim out a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully that tucks behind the bumper. But yeah, guys, we are on this and we're getting there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the clamps, and then we can go ahead and move on to the blowout valve. All right, guys, so we got the clamps right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and slide these down, and we'll set these up at the bottom. Now, some of the piping I'm gonna have to take off, but for right now, we'll just set these up. That way we can put them on. I might have to use a regular clamp on this one because it's probably going to be a little bit bigger, but we'll go ahead and get this on, and then we'll come back and tighten all of this stuff up. All right, guys, so we got these pipes where we want them, and we're just going to go ahead and tighten these clamps down. That way when this thing goes in the boost, they don't blow off. So these are 67 to 75 millimeter clamps. Alright, guys, so we got all the intercooler piping and we got everything on, and it's all clamped up. I tightened down the clamps, and we are good to go. All that piping is set up where it needs to be, and now I'm gonna come and put on the blowout valve. And real simple, it's just gonna be 2 bolts holding it down right here, and we're gonna go ahead and put that on. So we're gonna go ahead and put this blowout valve on, and I'm gonna set the gasket under the screw, and then it's really easy to do this. Run this through here, set that one in place. We'll set that in place, and then I'll come put the nut under it. That one's good. Put this one on. And then we're going to come back and tighten it down. Alright, guys, so we got the blowout valve put on, everything's tightened down, and now we need to come and put the downpipe on. Alright, guys, so here's the downpipe, and I have this downpipe. This is the one that came with the kit, and normally you would have to cut, weld, and extend these, and this is perfectly fine to do that. It came with the kit, but I already had this one that's already been done. It's going to come down under the oil pan, and it's cut perfect for a B series, so we're just going to use this one. Now this one comes with the kit, and you would have to take it to a muffler shop and get it cut and weld and all of that. I already got this one done, so we're just going to go ahead and put this one on. So here we go, guys. I'm putting the exhaust, the downpipe on. And like I said, I already have this one cut, so we're just gonna put this gasket down in there, and we'll just bolt it up to the back side of the turbo, and we'll be good to go. So now that I got these bolts on, I'm just gonna come down and snug everything up, and we're good. Alright, guys, so right now I got everything on, and I'm just gonna fill the engine up with oil. It takes 4.5 quarts. We need to get oil in here so we can prime the turbo and then fire this thing up. So I'm super excited about this. All right, guys, so we got everything installed, and right now this is, guys, what I'm about to do right now is like the most important part of installing this turbo. Now, some people say you don't have to do it, but you know, guys, when you go online and you see, right now we're about to prime the turbo. And if you go online, you see a lot of bad reviews, and if you watch videos, you see a lot of bad reviews talking about these turbos are cheap and you're gonna blow your engine up if you use them, guys. But one thing that I see in a lot of the videos that they all have in common, where they're messing up the turbo, or, oh, I got this turbo and it doesn't work, none of them prime their turbo. And here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do, because making sure you're getting oil to the turbo will save it. It will make it run right, just like an engine, guys. You cannot dry start an engine with no oil in it. These are designed to have oil running through them, so make sure you do that. And let me show you what we're gonna do. So I didn't tighten this down before the oil feed line, and we're just gonna take this off, and this is why I didn't tighten it down. And we're just gonna go ahead, and there's a little bit of water in there, but I'm not really worried about that, because you know, that's not gonna feed into the line. But we're gonna start the car. We're not gonna start the car, we're gonna turn the engine over, and I disconnected the distributor cable, so we have no spark. The car will not start without the distributor hooked up. So we have no spark. What we want to do is we want to turn the engine over till we get some oil pumping out of this, and then we'll know we have oil coming through our feed line. We'll connect it, and we'll keep turning the engine over to get some oil circulating through the turbo, and then we can go ahead and fire it up. Now, like I said, I've seen videos where people are like, oh, this is the cheapest turbo, and I bought this so you don't have to buy it. And they make all these stupid videos, and they don't even install it right. So don't be that guy. Make sure you prime your turbo. Make sure you have an oil supply going to the turbo before you fire it up, because you will destroy the turbo and you'll be one of those guys, oh, this is so cheap. The last time I put a turbo on my car from Max Peden Rods, I mean, it didn't mess up on me. I took it off because I swapped the engine out. So, you know, just do the job right. This is one of those things, and this is why I say it's one of the most important things, because so many people mess up right there. They do a whole installation and they fire it up without oil. They're excited about the turbo being on the manifold and everything's hooked up, and oh, well, let me just run it. Don't do that. So we're gonna go ahead and prime this thing now. All right, guys, so we got oil coming out of that line now, and what I'm gonna do is go ahead and hook it back up. So yeah, we got that oil, and we're gonna go ahead and hook this back up, and that way we can keep turning it over and let some more oil get into that turbo, and I'll snug that down. So we're just gonna tighten this down and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, so we got that tightened down, and we're gonna continue. Now that we have oil coming through the feed line, we're gonna continue to rotate the engine. That way we can get some oil in the turbo. All right, guys, so I rotated this engine enough, almost to where the battery sounds like it's gonna die. So, I mean, maybe that's a little bit overkill, but we got the oil going through, and we are about to fire this thing up. I checked, there's no leaks on the bottom, so I'm gonna take it off the jack stands and then fire it up. So in order to fire it up, guys, we gotta hook the distributor back together, and we should be good to go, and it should fire up. But we're gonna go ahead and get it off the jack stands now. Guys, so she's running. Let's let it warm up a little bit, and so I'm gonna let this thing run and burn off a little bit of the oil, the smoke that's on the exhaust, on the turbo manifold, and I'm super excited about this, guys. All right, guys, so we're under the car, and the downpipe downpipe's rattling on the exhaust, but it's good. We got to take it to a muffler shop, and we'll figure all of that out. They just have to do that one connection, and she's good to go. All right, guys, so we got the turbo kit installed. I am super excited about this. Now, we're done with this part of the install. I do got to get some vacuum lines so I could hook up the wastegate and the blowout valve. But for right now, I'm super happy. I'm excited about this. This is part 2, guys. in part 3, we are going to be wrapping everything up. I'm going to show you how to put the wastegate and blowout valve lines on. I'm going to put the catch can on, and we're going to take this thing to the exhaust shop, get it welded up, and get everything situated. And we're going to take this thing for a drive in the next one. So I'm excited about that. But that's it, guys. I want to give you a in-depth how to install a turbo kit on your Honda, your car. You know, guys, this is a universal kit. You have to make it work, but we got it going and the turbo's spinning, and I'm excited about this. So in the next one, we'll finish out the install. And that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at 79 Productions, Facebook at 79 Productions, and give Max Pete and Rods a follow too. Big shout out to them for this turbo kit. I'm excited about it, and we're just you know, I'm happy about it. And guys, I'll catch you on the next one. God bless you guys.